Some great insights to start the day with. Next up is Josef Holm of Draper Goren Holm to explore why Dubai, where I'm based and Josef is as well, has become home to such a large contingent of blockchain startups. During the conversation, we also have Ali Medhevi of Blockchain Founders Fund, who will follow with his panel of experts. But first, I'm heading over to Josef.
Hello, everyone. Now I feel a bit bad that we're not talking about what it is that we're learning from crypto or what we've learned from crypto, but nonetheless, very excited to have this discussion about how Dubai has managed to attract blockchain startup in droves. Of course, I am joined by, as already mentioned, Josef Holm, founding partner of Draper Goren Holm. I'm also joined by Ralf Glabischnig, founder and board member of CV Labs, Saeed Aldarmaki, founder at Sheesha Finance, Dr. Marwan Alzarouni, the CEO of the Dubai Blockchain Center, and of course, Fatma Elsafty, blockchain technology product manager at Do. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. I know you're all sitting in Dubai, so this is a late night session for you all. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you for having us.
Of course. Now, to kick things off and to manage this in an organized fashion, I'm going to throw the first question out there. And I'd like to kick this one out specifically to Ralf Glabischnig. So feel free to add later on, guys, but I would be curious to know what are the key ingredients for a successful and flourishing startup / blockchain ecosystem? Oh, I think we just lost Ralf. So then let me open it up to the entire group.
So Dubai, I think, has long been at the forefront of technology as well as innovation, and also trade and tourism. So it's no different in this case. Crypto and blockchain technology is an emerging technology. It is where the innovation moves at a very fast pace, and we want to be a part of it and actually lead it. And Ralf is back. Good segue.
Perfect, because I think Ralf, you always have a very good answer prepared to this. So let me ask you, what are the key ingredients for a successful and flourishing startup / blockchain ecosystem?
I would say we have maybe 5 key ingredients. The first one maybe the solution itself, the density of the solution, the right talent or the right team who will be actually driving this solution to the market. And then if we have the right team and the right solution, then we should have the go-to-market strategy for this startup. And if we have the main three, which is the solution density and the right team or the right talent and the go-to-market strategy, then they are at the level to have the fundraising. So this would be the number 4, and number 5 would be the regulation to govern this startup and allow them to scale and build a sustainable solution. This is in my opinion.
So I think you could group it into essentially capital, talent, and infrastructure. Is that fair to say?
Exactly, and the solution, yeah.
Perfect. If we take that as sort of the main criteria, how does Dubai specifically match up to that criteria today?
Okay, so talent, I believe Dubai is a multicultural environment and it has all the diversity. So based on that, it actually attracts a lot of skill sets. And to find the right talent and right skill sets, it's not difficult comparing with the other countries worldwide. So this is for the finding the right talent. The infrastructure, there are a lot of organization and giant cloud organization providing the infrastructure to the edge, as well as also providing the security controls that require for the governance and the regulation in the country.
Josef, how do you think Dubai matches up on the infrastructure, talent, and capital front? I
Joseph
think,
breaking up there.
unfortunately, you might be having some internet connectivity issues. The technology is not smiling upon us today.
The background is great, but the sound is not coming through.
Yeah, let's try with Saeed.
Yeah, I think Dubai has really the best kind of ecosystem and infrastructure at the moment. The crypto community and the blockchain community, especially since COVID, has started to kind of move into Dubai recently. We've seen an explosion in the number of people that are based in Dubai that are focused on crypto and blockchain. As Fatma alluded to, there has been a lot of development in terms of blockchain in general on the infrastructure side. You're seeing a lot of layer one blockchain solutions that are coming out. And being a part of Casper Labs, which is a company that built Casper blockchain, and with the focus on enterprise, I think it's been great for us to have a presence in the region, and we're doing a lot of really good stuff here, and we're having a lot of really good conversations. But I think also in terms of funds or ecosystem funds that are coming up that are trying to support startups coming here, especially in terms of capital, which was alluded to. You have the likes of Sheesha Finance, which is incubating and seeding projects on the token side. And then you have one fund which is going to be coming up really soon towards the end of this year, which is CV Centio, which I'm a part of, and CV Labs and CVBC is a part of, and Sanctum Ventures is a part of, which is specifically focused on providing capital to early stage startups, specifically focused on the UAE ecosystem. So if you are a startup that wants to set up here, then you'll have access to capital from professional investors who have a track record of investing and supporting projects at an early stage. So I think, you know, the range of community, regulatory clarity, blockchain infrastructure, ecosystem, incubators, accelerators, government support is all there. The one challenge that I would say is happening at the moment is in terms of setting up a company here that issues a token. At the moment, there's no regulatory clarity on that aspect. And finally, with regards to banking account setups, the central bank hasn't issued clear guidance or regulation around crypto assets and crypto companies. So you'll have to find your banking solution elsewhere. And I think the DMCC Crypto Center, which CV Labs Dubai is managing and supporting, has alternative solutions to address that area. But overall, I think we're in a really, really good position here and a really good time to move your operations here as well.
Absolutely. Now we have a lot of local voices in the group, but we do have an international voice represented. Now we've talked a bit about the essentials, and it seems that Dubai has those quite well covered. But Joseph, what exactly sets Dubai apart as a location when pitted against other hubs? Because you guys, of course, are very familiar with sort of the Silicon Valley approach and other international hubs. Why Dubai?
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me now.
Perfect.
Got crappy Wi-Fi here, so apologies for that. Saeed has covered a lot of it, but you know, one of the biggest differences between California, where I've built the fund with Tim Draper and Alon Goren, my partners, is just you know, the regulatory friendliness from the government. Like, you know, it's not a fully baked system yet. They're still working on several parts of it, but the government is very open to crypto and blockchain technologies. Quite to the contrary of the United States, for example, where you have big elements in the government trying to, you know, fight this and kill it in its tracks and not allow this to succeed, which is one of the reasons why we are here, because we see, you know, I have conversations with portfolio companies and friends every
Joseph, we lost you again there.
Again. I'm starting to get very suspicious of his terrible Wi-Fi connection. I was told Dubai is supposed to be mainly 5G by now.
4G is everywhere at the moment. 5G
Standard.
Dubai is the fastest country after Japan, so it is the second country worldwide.
So I guess Joseph just knows how to pick his locations. User error in that case.
Yeah,
No,
it
but
is.
in that case, while we wait for Joseph to reconnect, I'd be curious. Of course, a lot of you have very close ties to institutions. I'd be curious to know, how have institutions reacted to sort of the growing number of blockchain companies that are flocking to Dubai, since, let's say, the beginning of 2020?
I can take this one. Then Saeed, you can back me up on it as well. So what we've seen is, first of all, the PR companies started moving here and really covering up the story of Dubai and the narrative that this is becoming very quickly the hub for crypto around the globe, basically. And then soon after, we started seeing events companies moving here. And then from there, of course, the VCs and the boutique investment companies, especially the ones that deal with crypto, started moving here, and having local people also start their own funds and having crypto in their portfolio helped a lot, especially with family offices and the funds around those kind of companies. Saeed?
Yeah, maybe I'll segue onto institutions kind of deploying capital into the technology and into infrastructure and ecosystem. I think the larger family offices and the high net worths are certainly deploying capital into the market currently, especially in the region. The larger institutions, I think, are still kind of wanting to have a lot more regulatory clarity around blockchain technology, especially from the central bank and from ESCA, the onshore regulator. So I think they're just playing a waiting game. It's just a question of when and not if the larger institutions are going to start, really supporting the infrastructure and ecosystem in the region. But I think I'd like to hear from Fatma at Do, because I know Do has a really, really well developed blockchain as a service platform, and they're servicing several UAE government agencies as well. So Fatma, would love to hear more from you about that.
Yeah, definitely, Saeed. So in Do, as you know, Do is a telco organization, one of the biggest organization in the UAE. And we are from the new business and innovation. We actually support the government and federal across all the customer segments, so federal entities, government, and small and medium business in their digital transformation strategy, where they can actually transform the as is solution to an awesome to be scenario or use case on blockchain. So what we have done, as Saeed mentioned, we build a full stack blockchain as a service, where our customers from different segment and different industry, they can leverage the blockchain infrastructure, but not only infrastructure, the other elements as well, IDEs, ready-made features, in order for them just think about the use case they want to leverage, and we will support from the back end on everything.
Yeah, I think
Based on that, yeah,
Fatma, we were one of the first people to actually jump on the
exactly.
Do platform, and I'm very happy to say that you were very supportive, very actually at the forefront of creating backend solutions, so the people who are not familiar with blockchain technology can focus on their project rather than focusing on building the infrastructure, which was very helpful in moving Dubai very quickly within the blockchain space.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Dr. Marwan.
It's nice to get such positive feedback, no? Now, we've already hit
Yeah,
on...
true.
Exactly. We've already hit on the role that particularly regulation plays in sort of cementing the role of a blockchain hub that is hoping to attract a lot of business. But what lessons can Dubai as a jurisdiction draw from other jurisdictions, both what to do and what not to do?
I think, look, us in Dubai, we don't, jump into new things without studying them. And of course, with everything we did, even with things like e-government and smart cities and things like that, we always look at what others are doing, and we actually, rather than with them, go to them with special, delegations and look at what they're doing and lessons learned from their experiences, and then we try to avoid the mistakes that they made, and then leverage the Dubai's strength and actually creating ecosystems that help from all aspects, from the funding, from the ecosystem, from the talent pool, and also from even things that people take for granted, which is infrastructure. You've seen that if the connection is bad, we cannot have a conversation. So all these things that people take for granted are available in Dubai. It's a very safe city to be in. It's a very safe environment to do business in. The judicial system is amazing. And swift and fast. The regulations are mature. We have, for example, the IFC, British common law, their international court as well. So all of these things, all these elements that are taken for granted by people who live in Dubai are actually a game changer for somebody who sees it for the first time. And I think this is a part of the attraction for Dubai when it comes to even things like crypto. We're not perfect, but we are doing our best to make this a really good, wholesome environment for somebody to go in.
Joseph, let's give it a go. What lessons do you think Dubai can learn from other jurisdictions?
I'm scared. Every time I say something, my Wi-Fi gives up.
You're good. You're good now, bro.
I think one of the big advantages that Dubai has is that it can move very quickly, right? They don't have a Congress, no Senate to deal with. It's a top-down kind of government system that in this case works very well. So if the top of the government gives a directive, then the rest of the government just executes it. They don't argue over it. And I think that's what we see here. They decided that blockchain is good for the country. Crypto is the future, love it or hate it. And it's something that we discussed actually with Ahmed bin Sulaim on our fireside chat yesterday, where he made it very clear, regardless if you're a fan of this or not, it's the future and Dubai wants to be a part of it. And I am very impressed and excited about the way they're implementing it, the speed at which they are doing this. And that's what attracts us as outsiders to bring outside capital and help strengthen and grow the ecosystem here.
No, absolutely. Of course, the blockchain space itself is no stranger to certain tensions. Joseph, you already dropped the SEC name earlier, but often at the end of the day, right, often tensions arise between companies and startups and institutions and governments. So what do both sides of that spectrum need to consider when they interact with each other?
Is this for me?
Anyone in the group, guys?
You've spoken the least, Joseph, so you should take a stab.
Go ahead. I'm so terrified about my Wi-Fi.
No, I think for me, look, there's two sides when it comes to blockchain and crypto. You have the traditional world, which I was fortunate enough to be a part of when I was working for Abu Dhabi Investment Authority for 9 years before I switched over to the blockchain and crypto space. And obviously, they're more cautious. The more capital and the more wealth somebody has, it's just human nature for them to be more cautious and want to take less risk with that capital. But then you have the new world of crypto and blockchain, where it's mostly actually millennials and the younger generation that have embraced blockchain and understand the value of crypto and what it brings to the table. And they're just, kind of fed up with the kind of centralized approach to everything, and they want a more efficient and decentralized manner of participating and doing business. So I think to be successful, you have to balance both sides. And I think if you can speak the language of the traditional folks, and then also understand the needs and wants of the newer generation and the blockchain people, and just find the right kind of balance and common ground, then I think that's an optimal solution. I don't think you can ignore either side. If you're a project or a business that wants to be successful, then you have to be kind of open-minded and hear the concerns that both sides have and try to address those. If you're just focused on one side, I think you're definitely missing out, and you're not taking everything into account.
No, absolutely. What are the potential avenues you think for that type of collaboration or just knowledge exchange? What do you think has worked well in other cases?
Yeah, I think in terms of like the regulation, especially in terms of regulation, you have the likes of the onshore regulator, ESCA, and they're kind of listening to and taking opinions from the institutions and the traditional people. And then they're also inviting the participants in the actual market, like the real players in the market, like exchanges and the picks and shovels and service providers in the industry, and they're getting their opinions and they're doing working groups, etc. So I think leveraging both sides when it comes to especially making decisions and especially when it comes to regulation, it's very important to take into account that you're not over-regulating and you're not under-regulating, because if you're over-regulating, you're stifling innovation, and if you're under-regulating, then you kind of not really protecting the consumers and the participants in the market.
It's a delicate balance to strike, I think, absolutely. Now, we've touched on that axis of sort of capital, talent, and infrastructure before. What on that front do you think still needs to be done specifically in Dubai in order to help it unlock its full potential as a blockchain hub?
I think, look, there are certain technologies that
we're losing Dr. Marwan now. Fatma, you want to have a go at it?
Please go ahead.
Yes, so I believe the regulation, the regulation should be actually more adapting the new technologies, the new solutions in order for them to scale, as well as the adaptation of the other niche technologies beyond blockchain. So blockchain can actually work with a lot of industries and customer segments, but it needs also other technologies to support and complete the solution end to end, like AI, IoT, and so on. So looking to the solution from the overall solution, and we don't actually focus on certain technology or receipt. We need to focus more on the innovation and the market need. So this is in my view.
Yeah,
On the talent
maybe I'll
side,
add to that. Yeah, I'll add to that that I think at the moment there's brilliant ideas and talent that's coming in from outside. But what I'd love to see is kind of the educational entities trying to encourage the young UAE national talent to actually come through. So one of the reasons why I'm actually very much actively participating in conferences and events and panels like this is to actually show that there are UAE nationals who are embracing the market and embracing the technology and are passionate about what they're doing. And I want to see the younger UAE nationals here in the region and the younger local population to actually see somebody who's taking the risk and who's actually actively involved in this market and taking a lot of risk and trying to educate people. And then that would encourage them to say, like, actually, if Saeed's done it, then why can't I do it? I mean, I started from zero knowledge of blockchain and crypto, and over the last 5 years, I've built that slowly and gradually, and I've leveraged, my network and partners and friends and colleagues who have already been participating in the market. So, my door is always open for anybody who wants to learn about this space. I think Dr. Marwan is a great role model for us as well, for the younger talent. So I really want the UAE nationals here to embrace the technology and learn about it and get some exposure to crypto as well and make the mistakes that we have all made. And I'd love to see that happening here.
At the end of the day, I think on the talent front, there's always room for improvement, right? And the Dubai Blockchain Center is a huge part in making sure that next generation of talent gets educated and has the tools in order to sort of bring on that innovation that's grown locally, which is an essential part. Dr. Marwan, I want to give you the opportunity to respond since we unfortunately lost you tragically earlier.
No problem. So I think education is twofold. So it's one of the things is not only teaching people what the current technology is, but also open their mind of where the puck is going to be. And in this case, looking at the younger generation, we actually do a class. It's a 3-day class for government departments here in Dubai under the Dubai Future Foundation, and we teach them what blockchain technology and cryptocurrency are going to look like in a couple of years, maybe in 5 years, 10 years as well, and have this kind of interactive workshop where they can discuss the ideas of what they think DeFi is going to look like in 5 years or 10 years, what NFTs are going to look like in 5 to 10 years, and what do you think this whole technology is heading towards. It's amazing to see how people, if you provide them with just the basic knowledge, what use cases and ideas they can come up with. And another great idea for Dubai is actually creating spaces where there are collision spaces. One of the spaces is, for example, DMCC Crypto Center. There's another space which is One Central in Dubai, where there are crypto companies, startups from all aspects of life in the same building as Dubai Tourism. So it's an amazing collision space between, creatives, between people who are influencers, technical people, people working with cutting edge stuff like crypto. Collision spaces are very important, and a lot of people don't realize this. When they create hubs for specific technology. The hubs should be around, the idea of making people from different walks of life run into each other and get introduced to each other's, perspective as well. And this is, I think, what Dubai did very nicely with things like Area 2071. Abu Dhabi has done it also with Hub 71, and we've seen more and more places like this popping up in the UAE and across the world as well.
Yeah, maybe
Absolutely.
I'll point towards the USA as well, and I'll let Joseph talk about that. But I think I'm very impressed with all the universities and colleges in the US that are actually providing qualifications and training courses and educational certificates specifically to blockchain. And I think, if I'm not wrong, there is also Draper University. So maybe Joseph can talk about that as well, if he's there.
If we have him. We see him, he's with us in spirit. I think unfortunately the audio might be cutting out again.
And I think we are also taking this connectivity for granted. If you look at it physically, we are the furthest 2 points on Earth.
Oh,
oh goodness, one casually after the other. All right.
Fatma,
Well,
are you seeing any
effort.
colleges or universities that are doing this?
So true, Saeed. So we have Zaid University and Khalifa University. Both of them actually they're encouraging the students to start doing researches on blockchain and on different technologies. And myself, actually, I did a lot of mentorship for the students in Zaid University and Khalifa University. So it is there, and students there, they even in the third year and the fourth year, they know what is the blockchain is and what the benefit of blockchain and the technology and so on. And they actually totally aware of the benefits, but not only benefits, the use cases across different industries. So I wanted to tell you that. So yes, Zayed University and Khalifa University, both universities, they have this initiative, and their students actually they work on researches on blockchain and on also different technologies.
Now we've hit on talent, we've hit on its potential. I'd be quite interested from you guys. Are there any particular areas or industries or topics where you believe that Dubai-based startups or Dubai-based talent could emerge as sort of the next rising star? I know you guys at Sheesha Finance are very heavily involved in the DeFi space. Where do you see, how do you estimate the local, really like the local the local talent could be rising in that space?
Yeah, I think one of the industries and one of the markets in the UAE and in the region that's always been kind of mature and where there's a lot of capital invested is real estate. So I think um, greater innovation in the real estate sector and more specifically with tokenization of real estate or fractionalization of real estate assets, I think that would be an area where there would be good scope for innovation and there is a large market for people to capture that market and digitize that market. So I think where most of the money is and where the biggest market cap is, that's where you'll see the most opportunity, and that's hopefully where you'll see the most innovation.
Joseph, let's kick it out to you. Where do you guys with Draper Goren Holm see the most potential?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. I had to refresh my window
No
again.
worries. Let's try again. So particularly when it comes to Dubai, are there any particular areas or industries where you are paying particular attention because you think Dubai could emerge as sort of a rising star in this specific field?
I think there is a lot of potential in token launches and regulating token launches and security tokens. That's something where Switzerland has been pretty good, but there isn't really another jurisdiction that really excels at that. So I think that will be one of the big things. But we as a fund, we're use case agnostic. We look at the highly regulated digital assets, security token side of things, and then the highly unregulated DeFi side of things. And I think there is potential in all of those areas for Dubai. As far as we're concerned, as an early stage blockchain fund, we invest in teams with great ideas, and to us it doesn't really matter so much which vertical they're in. So I think there is, and we're so early in this game too, right? So there's a lot of potential in all areas of this industry for Dubai to really excel, as long as they build a framework that's sensible and reliable and not like we talked about yesterday on the fireside chat, like essentially playing Russian roulette with the SEC and never knowing when they will come cracking down on you and what will happen to your startup or from our side to your investment. So I think that Dubai is in a really, really good position to take the lead globally, frankly, to become that hub where startups and capital and investors have clarity and security and know which framework to operate in to be successful. And again, then it doesn't really matter the precise vertical.
I'm curious to hear Fatma's thoughts on NFT as a use case and if Du is looking into that or utilizing that.
Yes, Saeed, but I cannot disclose this information to be honest. So,
It's just us and 20,000 people on the live
Yeah,
stream.
you're fine.
exactly.
No, it doesn't have to be what Du is doing, but what Du is seeing in the market around NFTs, maybe.
So we see actually great demand in the NFT, and maybe that's why we are working on certain use cases, but I will not disclose them as well.
Either way,
That's
the
good
fact
enough.
that you guys
Good
are
for me.
actively involved in it must mean you see some potential. Huh? So we'll take that. We'll take that.
I think Dr. Marwan has been doing some really good stuff with NFTs, specifically around cars. So that'd be good to hear about.
Yes, so we're creating a number of things. We're experimenting still with NFTs. So for the cars, we're doing cars that are in real life wrapped with art, digital art, as well as augmented reality, virtual reality, as well as moments associated with these cars. In addition to that, we're doing NFTs for real life items as well, whether it is agriculture or fisheries or even labeling different types of unique merchandise is an amazing use case for NFTs. And one of the use cases that have actually moved to Dubai is called ice caps, where you actually can buy real life diamonds on the OpenSea platform. So, and there's also a platform called Galaxy of Arts that has already been established in Dubai, and Dubai World Trade Center Authority is another NFT platform created by French people who moved to Dubai called Jumi as well. And they're doing purely digital art with frames and that you can display in your house. So there's a lot of them also popping up every day, especially around gaming and the metaverse. And I think Dubai is slowly becoming the hub for not only crypto and NFTs, but also esports and gaming.
At the end of the day, there are a lot of, let's say, industries, right, where Dubai already excels, commodities, luxury goods. Where do you see, or how do you see that potentially linking into the different possibilities that blockchain presents?
I'll give an example. So in a couple of weeks, we have Dubai Watch Week, which is taking place in the IFC. And within that conference, in the Watch Week, we actually have a special session on NFTs and how they are associated with luxury goods. There are already companies that are looking into that, especially for collectibles. So as you collect, real watches, people are now collecting, Nike shoes in the metaverse. They're collecting special watches and special items, luxury items within the metaverse. So when you buy a real life item, you also get the metaverse equivalent of that item. So and a lot of other, utility based. So you're getting discounts and exclusivity to buy certain luxury items like bags or goods and get first in line and some, drops, whether it is in the virtual world or in real life as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now we've talked about sort of Dubai's role as a hub, how it's growing into that role. I'd be curious to know how specifically can or should Dubai interact with other blockchain hubs. At the end of the day, this is all part of one global network, right? Decentralization means that we are positioned in a very global industry. So how does Dubai factor into the greater global picture? Joseph, I know you already mentioned that you think it will emerge as an absolute leader. I think everyone in this group agrees, but what will that interaction look like in the future of that role?
But it's not a binary world, right? So there will be others as well, and I think that in particular, CV Labs at the DMCC is doing a great job of building two ecosystems that support each other, and at the end of the day, I think it's all about collaboration. That's what we are very big on as a fund, as a venture studio. Also, me personally, right? I think that there's Dubai alone can't succeed. Switzerland alone can't succeed. It's one tide floats all boats or raises all boats, and that's kind of like how I look at it. So the more collaborations there are between countries, between ecosystems, all working towards the same goal, the better we'll all be off, right? It's very, very simple. This is a global world. We all live on one planet, and if we don't pursue our shared interests and help each other out, no one is going to succeed. So it's very straightforward in my opinion.
I totally
Dr.
agree.
Marwan?
I think Malta has been very helpful to us here in Dubai as well as Singapore in coming up with regulations around both cryptocurrencies as well as gaming. So we are not in a vacuum. We're not in an island. I think we are very well connected and very well, very friendly with other countries that actually help us in moving this industry forward. And I think everybody plays a role and everybody adds to this rather than compete.
It's friendly competition, right? There is certainly competition, but it's also collaboration, and that's in the end what's going to work.
Yes, exactly.
Saeed, how do you think Dubai will fit into the greater global picture?
Yeah, I think Dubai has always been kind of a central hub, especially for travel. So I think, it's easy for us here in Dubai to reach many different countries. And I know that, for example, the Emirates Securities and Commodities Authority, they have been in close communication and dialogue with, you know, the FCA, with the Singapore authorities, with the SEC, and with other jurisdictions when they're actually considering the onshore framework and regulation, which they're consistently studying and hoping to deliver in the near future. So I think, you know, we also are a very neutral country, which has very close diplomatic ties with so many other countries out there. I think at one point the UAE passport was one of the top kind of passports where you can enter so many different countries with the passport. So I think leveraging on our close diplomatic ties with many countries, we're able to kind of get through to the right people and the right industries to kind of collaborate and work together. And I think just as the same as it is with companies in a new market, where, you know, if you have the right partners and you strike up the most amount of partnerships, then you have the best chance of success. And I know, like with Sheesha Finance and Draper Goren Holm, we have a really good kind of partnership, because I know DGH really invests early stage on the equity side. But then with the case of one or two of their portfolio companies, Sheesha Finance has come in early stage on the token side of these companies that DGH supported on the equity side. And we're like kind of taking them onto the next level on the token side. So I think collaboration between the regulators and the market participants is always very important. And you can't work in isolation. The world is closely connected. Travel is easily accessible to everyone. So I think if you're not leveraging that and communicating with everybody, no matter where they are in the world, then you're kind of missing out there.
Missed opportunity, definitely. Fatma, on a closing note, I'd like to pose the same question to you.
Well, as Dr. Marwan and Saeed mentioned, so once we have the regulation set in the country, we'll be able to open with other countries. And as Saeed mentioned, Dubai is always the hub of innovation and the hub of the use cases and solutions, blockchain solutions, but also it's providing the exposure to different blockchain network across the universe. So again, the regulation, once the regulation is set in Dubai, and also meeting the regulation with the other blockchain networks, we'll be able to integrate with each other.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think I speak for everyone when we say that we will keep a close eye on Dubai and see what happens in the coming months. I think it's far from over. To the four of you and Ralf in spirit, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today. To the 20,000 people that have joined us online virtually, thank you so much for taking the time. Please do enjoy the rest of the LA Blockchain Summit. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.